It's me. Leave a message at the beep.
Hey man, need your help. Tina and I got into a bit of an argument tonight. It's stupid. You know, the honeymoon went great, as honeymoons do. But, yeah, now that we're back, so we're back to the usual, I guess. Things were said. She got mad. She said I sounded like her ex. You know, it's just stupid. I just could really use someone to talk to. You know, I said I was sorry. We both knew I didn't mean it. I didn't. That's just a fact. So, could really use you as a sounding board right now, you know? She thinks I'm crazy. Maybe I am, but I'm not wrong. So, you know, what do you think? Batman's totally awesome, right? I mean, he's like the best. Anyway, I need you to back me up here. Call me back. Today is August 3rd, 2015, and welcome back, one and all, to my second, yes, count it, my second ever podcast. I'd like to say I've learned a lot in the last week, but I imagine I've been busy trying to convince anyone who might possibly be willing to listen to this damn thing to download it, and yeah, I stumbled over the words, but I'm just gonna keep going. That intro, seriously though, Batman is more than a shepherd. He's totes my goats, am I right? Batman, seriously. I mean, come on, I can't back down from that. It's a new week this week, or so I'm told. If you're back for more, welcome back. And if this is the first time you've ever tuned into my podcast, may I recommend all of my other podcasts from the past, including such hits as Podcast Number 1 and, well, I guess listening to this one again, I don't know. Yeah, I guess it's not as impressive when I say it out loud. Well. Today I have a bunch of topics to cover, but spoiler alert, I won't tell you what they are until we actually get there. It's not that I don't know, though I assure you, I do not. But it's because I hate the way modern news peppers out upcoming news stories. Will the lamps in your home kill you at 9 p.m.? Tune in at 11 to find out. Then they don't even cover it until like the last 5 minutes. And the answer is already obviously no, since it's damn near midnight and you aren't even dead. 5 news stories of the week, and you won't believe number 3. Find out how clicking on this one link will make you slim and wealthy. Total nonsense. I won't subscribe to it, and I won't ask you to. So, coming up in the next segment, our sponsors. You won't believe who our sponsors are this week. Top 10 reasons to keep listening. Number 1 is to hear our sponsor message. See what I mean? That's just terrible. But, here we go. This podisode brought to you by Avoiding My Kids. Avoiding My Kids. It's what I'm doing right now. Avoiding My Kids. It's easy, affordable, remarkably peaceful, and it's not just better than sex, it's actually legally a prerequisite for having sex. And I'm not just a spokesman, but a customer. Heck, I'm actually avoiding my kids right now. Let's get started. Okay, so this is the part of the show where I talk about lessons I learned as a kid. One thing, in middle school I figured this out. Kid goes, hey, you remember Scooby-Doo? Shaggy was on pot. Okay, that's not a revelation. That's a plot point. That's character development. If you haven't figured that out by middle school, there's no help for you. But that's nothing. To me, the big drug scandal in cartoon world was Popeye. Yeah, Popeye. So let's think of the cast here. Who've we got? Popeye is a skinny guy with big arms. Apparently sailors still tie a lot of knots in the 50s. And he doesn't have a lot of strength until he has his freak out moment. And what makes the Hulk green? Well, spinach, or I guess PCP. He can do anything. He can kick any ass. He can knock down buildings, and he can feel no pain. No pain. You'll feel it tomorrow, Popeye. I promise you that. And then who else have we got? Bluto, the big guy who skipped leg day. That guy's on steroids. He's clearly roid raging. He's got the weird hairy back. That guy is, if he's not on steroids, I am. All the bulk, no strength, short temper, shrunken balls, I assume. I couldn't see them. You would think a guy that big would have a noticeable bulge. No, he's clearly. Jay Wellington Wimpy, the successful businessman who will gladly pay you any amount of money tomorrow for a hamburger today. You're stoned, my friend. You have got the munchies for real. And then we get to olive oil. Well, she's a skinny girl. Did you notice? The fattest part on her body's her knees. She's a port whore. She's on crack. Whose baby is that? Not Popeye's, usually. Sometimes they pretend it is. I've been that dad. Come on. She's obviously on crack. Or meth. It was early for meth, so I'm going to say she was on maybe cocaine. I don't know, but she was definitely toked out. Sweet pea? Yeah. Who's the dad? Port whore. Random dad. Nobody knows. You know, that temperamental jundle of boy is an obvious crack baby, to be clear. So then we've got some of the ancillary characters. Poop Deck Pappy. Yeah, I'll let you make up your own mind on that. I'm guessing amyl nitrate, poppers, I don't know, something. Sea Hag. Sea Hag? Really? Well, if she's not a madam, then she's a pusher. Alice the Goon? Where do these people come up with this stuff? Yeah, but Popeye, that's clearly PCP. Mania, no pain, and an affinity for a woman who is obviously a pile of garbage. She's a dumpster fire on a good day. I'm sure she's fun, but think about your future, man. You've got a Navy pension. Why would you even deal with this? So yeah, that's the real truth about Popeye and children's cartoons. They say cartoons now are corrupting. No, today cartoons are infomercials for Transformers, and they don't make a cartoon without first coming up with the product line. So anyway, that's this week's lesson from my childhood. People have commented on my ever-changing facial hair. They say crazy things like, I've never seen you with a beard, I've never seen you without a beard, I've never seen you without a soul patch or a goatee. So one reason I choose to is because I grow it out in between video shoots, so I can choose what facial hair fits best with the particular scene or character. And I've been practicing growing it out since puberty. I'm still not very good at it. YouTube has a bunch of tutorials on how to grow a beard. I'm probably going to watch those pretty soon, just because I don't know what I'm doing. But the bigger reason I have ever-changing facial hair is that I live not a double life, but actually a dodectuple life. I've got wives and families in 8 different states, and in every case I've got a different backstory, and a different name, and a different identity. But with the podcast coming out, they're probably going to figure this out. So, the facial hair is how I remember who I am, and it's also how I trick Facebook's facial recognition into not realizing that I'm the same guy. I'm just a bunch of nearly identical looking Irish bastards with different facial hair. It's clever, and I'm proud of it. And I know I'm not from Ireland, so before my friends from the Emerald Isle get all up in arms and saying you're not really from Ireland, I know that. I didn't say I was from Ireland. I said I was Irish. It's a big difference. It's critical. Managing all these lives takes a lot of lies, and I'm really glad to be done with them. You know how hard it is to explain to your family why you're around less than 8% of the time? It's obnoxious. So managing all these different lives requires a lot of lies, and I'm just done. Teresa thinks I'm a long-haul trucker. Mary Lou thinks I'm a spy. Gertie and Lisa both think I'm in prison. Pretty sure Debbie thinks I'm just an addict. Margaret thinks I'm a gypsy, which is probably true anyway, just not the way she thinks. Beyonce thinks I'm on tour. Michael thinks I'm with my beard waiting for my parents to die. Joke's on him, I'm already an orphan. And the rest just think I'm a bigamist, which is fine because they'll probably be the least upset when the truth comes out. So, yeah, it's been nice living these lies, or lives, if you prefer. But it'll be nice to be done with them, since I've got some serious phallus calluses and my scrotes totes taxed beyond failure. So, speaking of beyond failure, I have no idea how to do a proper segue, so I'm just going to awkwardly move on.
Hot streams for your face. Hot streams for your face.
Hot streams for your face. Yeah, I'll work on that. It's not great. But what it is terrible. So yeah, this week in the Hot Streams, where we discuss all the movies that you probably don't know about that you should, we're going to talk about Larry Gaye, Renegade Male Flight Attendant from 2015. Now, I know this is a brand new title, but I assure you it can be streamed. It's a multi-million-dollar movie that made literally, no money at all. So let's see. Larry Gaye, and that's Gaye spelled with a Y. And why? Because, let's face facts, an awful lot of male flight attendants are of the hombre sexual persuasion, if you will. And some of you will, some of you won't, and that's fine. It's a choice. No, wait, it's not a choice. Damn it. Anyway, that's not the point. Oh my god, I'm already getting in trouble on my second podcast. So, this movie's a lot like Airplane. Slightly less cheesy, way more original, much higher production value, and without all the racist overtones. You don't need those. No, it's just got, instead of racist overtones, it's got, a lot of gay jokes. Tastefully done. Bigoted gay jokes. It's I recommend it highly. So, the plot has, of course, a beginning, a middle, and an end, with twists along the way, leading up to a finale. So, I mean, that's something. I mean, that's all movies, except Memento and Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs, but the plot is not the point. So, a self-appointed renegade, male flight attendant Larry Gaye must save the day when the airline he works for tries to eliminate flight attendants as a cost-cutting measure. This movie is so bad. It really is. Let me check this out. This movie is so bad, it doesn't even have a Wikipedia page describing it. They spent millions of dollars on it. No Wikipedia page. So bad it's good? Well, maybe. But no. So it's so bad it's just plain awesome. So it stars actor, actress, and also Danny Pudi from Community in a supporting role. Patrick Warburton, who played Putty, Elaine's boyfriend on Seinfeld, he's in it as, Captain Bryce. Yeah. He also does a lot of voiceover work, Buzz Lightyear, the bodyguard from Venture Brothers, tons of stuff. And Rebecca Romijn appears much the same way she does in the dreams of guys in their late 20s, which is to say, she just kind of shows up, doesn't do much, and then you do what you do. She certainly got a mystique about her, though. Haha, X-Men joke. So, yeah, the only thing wrong with Rebecca Romijn, aside from the fact that she can't act and she's aging at all, is that she married John Stamos. I mean, that's pretty shameful in and of itself. I wouldn't recommend that. I wouldn't wish that on people. So let's see. Shameful. So look for cameos by Stanley Tucci, Taye Diggs, Jason Alexander of Seinfeld fame, Molly Shannon, and Marcia Gay Harden. Yeah, Marcia Gay Harden. Did they cast her because of the gay tie-in? I'm thinking yes. Gay Harden. Come on. So, yeah, distribution is all, available hither and thither online. Google, watch Larry Gaye online, free, and you'll find it, I'm sure. You could probably torrent it, since I can't imagine the distributors are trying to protect it. So, that's this week's hot stream for your face. I hope it helped cleanse you.
Technology.
So this week in technology, I want to talk about those little animated images you see on the computer. Not the new WebM ones, but the .GIF files. It's a graphics interchange format introduced by CompuServe in 1987. And they did that in order to, slow down your internet connection and make you look like the old person you currently are. So, early adopters, man, we had the worst of it. And some sites are still using it. So, many of those people are much older today. But on the plus side, the rest of them have passed away. So, the big question recently has been, how do you say the name of that format? Is it a GIF or is it a GIF? So the creators who made the format in the first place at CompuServe have insisted it's not GIF, but GIF. Now it's awfully convenient that they waited 30 years to come clean on this. But to me, this is, the final cry for help. It's like the celebrity who comes out 30 years later when their career is dead and said, "Oh, by the way, I was on acid during the filming of whatever." So, how do you choose what to call it? Well, choosy moms choose GIF. But I'm not a choosy mom, and I'm not a mom. And choosy moms sure as hell aren't using the internet. They're just on Facebook, and they think that's a separate thing. So, choosy moms also don't choose what's named files. So, since it's a graphic interchange format, not a giraffic interchange format, I insist I'm not a pedant or a dick, but I am going to be pedantic. I'm going to be both. It's GIF. That's it. It's settled. It's done. It's GIF. In the future, if you want, you can pronounce it GIF or GIF. I think GIF is better. That way you'll annoy everybody on both sides of the debate. And it is a debate. It's an argument. It's not something people are like, No. I personally passionate about it. So, go ahead and post in the comments of this on YouTube or wherever it is you found it. Facebook, glossynews.com/podcast, reddit.com/r/podcast, wherever you like. Post it on your own Facebook. I don't care. But I will listen. I won't care, but I'll listen. And that's the important thing, is I will pretend like I care, but I don't care. So just keep that in mind. It's a stupid debate. It's already settled. It's a goddamn GIF. You ignorant jit. You're Gus wrong if you say it otherwise. GIF, GIF. It's a freaking GIF. That's it for technology this week.
Joke of the week, joke of the week, joke of the week.
Again, it's not a joke. This is the truth. This is the truth of the week, is what this is. So, my buddy Thad, when he must have been about 37. So this is, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, 8 years ago, I guess. He'd had enough of the dating scene in that he never tried or was successful at it. He'd had enough one-night stands in that he'd had like one in college. And he decided it was time to settle down and, disseminate his unholy seed to the rest of the world. Or at least one woman, which is, if you haven't met Thad, it's for the best. So he decides to do the mail order route. And I told him, I go, buddy, that's trouble. You don't want that. It's not going to go well. Well, undeterred, Thad decides to go online, meets this pretty simple, kind of plain Jane girl. So, he has reason to believe that it's legit. And he asked me for his advice. What should he do? And I was like, well, you want to send a message of power when you meet her family. So learn some Russian phrases and, use them. Show the respect. So Thad flies over there and doesn't get to meet his fiancée until after he meets her father, which makes total sense if you know anything about Russian culture, which I do not. So, night before, he's nervous. He decides, I need to have sex one more time before I meet her. That way I can say, I never cheated on you when we were together. So, he hires the cheapest, skankiest, most high-class, disgusting, beautiful pile of garbage wrapped in a miniskirt he can find. I don't remember what it cost in rubles, but I think he told me with the exchange rate it was about $8, $6. So, takes her back to the 15-minute hotel. They do quarter hours now. It's actually a booming business in Russia. And he bends her over and he just starts going to town. I mean, he is hammering it home. And the whole time she's screaming, "Gunba, Gunba!" Which is weird because that doesn't sound like a Russian word, but I'm probably remembering it wrong. But anyway, she's just screaming it, "Gunba, Gunba!" Yeah, maybe she wasn't Russian, now that I think about it. There's probably something to that. I would certainly explain the discount. Illegal immigrants, am I right? So, he's like, okay, I know some power phrases. So the next day, he meets the father, and they go golfing. First tee, and by the way, I was a caddy. That was not a made-up story 2 weeks ago. That was true. He is on the 25th hole, and he pulls out his, we'll say, 50 wood, and the father whacks it, hole in one. Well, Thad is very impressed, so he decides to crack out some awesome Russian power language, walks over to him, pats him on the shoulder, and says, "Ginda!" And the father looks at him and says, "What do you mean, wrong hole?" So, yeah, I don't know what Thad did after that, but they're happily married today. The father and Thad, he never actually got to meet the daughter. I don't think she existed. I think they catfished him. But, no, Yuri's a nice guy, and he's got some great stories about the old country, and frankly, in many states you'd be honored to marry him, and in a few more you'd be honored to be his domestic partner, and in the rest, you probably don't want to talk about your relationship. So, that's just another true story from my life.
Chitty chitty chatting with a pro.
No, I know. It's not, I mean, I did it without headphones before. And I was just like, hey, as long as you're not peeking and everything's going, I mean, I think that's okay. My hair looks okay. Everything looks okay. This is all the pre-roll stuff. Make sure I'm all right.
So I'm not even going to run the timer this time.
Okay.
We'll just kind of earball it.
Okay. That sounds good.
Can you see? Are we good?
Looks...
Yeah, no, it's fine. Cause
Yeah.
You want to come down?
No, frame is right
Yeah.
at my top right there. Yeah, so anything from there down is good, I think.
Yep.
All right.
Okay, so, interview with a pro. Today we're talking with Jason Daniel, professional storyteller. Jason has a project he's been working on called Monologue a Day. So, give us a quick overview. What is Monologue a Day?
Well, in the simplest terms, I do a monologue every day.
Okay. I don't know if I'm going to follow this, but, if you could avoid the technical jargon, that'd be great.
Yeah.
So what inspired you to start this Monologue a Day?
Well, to be completely honest with you, nobody would put me in their movies.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Well, that's weird because I've put you in my movie.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, that's... In fairness,
Yeah.
I put you in after you started monologue a day.
Yeah.
So maybe
That's
that's
true.
why I did it.
I think that probably is exactly why. I was it's the jaw. Okay? It's the jaw. I get well, it's very famous. It's in several movies actually. Just this part. People identify that with the with the cop and the army guy.
Sure.
And the special agent.
Sure.
And
I've
I was trying to
actually
get at
seen
that.
your jaw in a movie.
Yes.
What movie was that?
In the Company of Women.
That's right.
In the Company of Women.
With Paul Einhorn.
Yeah, we should drop some more names. And the Silver Brothers.
Yes.
Yes. They've made a bunch of movies. Yeah, so yeah, they prominently featured my jaw, and and that just wasn't enough. So I needed to get my whole face in the thing. So I decided that what I wanted to do is every day have people look at me.
That doesn't seem fair to those people.
No, it's really not at all.
So what successes have you enjoyed so far in your monologue a day?
I guess it depends on what you mean by success. I think in a serious tone, I think I've finally learned the job of an actor.
Mm-hmm.
I've done a lot of things in my life, from tear off on a roof to computer programming, whatever you want to do, and I generally try to figure out a job. And acting is an incredibly hard job to define, and because you say words like acting is simply being, right? And until you do it, you don't know what that means. So most of the stuff that I try to do is just be more human, because that really is the art of acting is to be human. And I think that it's actually made me more of a human being. Not on the funny level, but understanding emotion, understanding motivations, understanding things. And then, like I said, everybody looks at me every day, which makes me happy. I did a magazine interview not too long ago. I'm in a magazine.
That's great.
It's a great magazine, I think.
Well, it's a magazine.
It is. It is a magazine. It has paper and covers and stuff.
I, to my knowledge, have not been in a magazine.
Okay.
But I will Google myself after this and find out if I have been.
Okay.
And if I have, I will use it to one-up you next time we chat.
Okay. Well, by that time, I'll be at least in one more magazine. I think
don't.
Dog
I
Fantasy.
guess I don't want to play this game anymore.
Okay. All right.
So, give us an on-air plug for Monologue a Day. How can people find it?
Well, most things that I do, I make websites that basically say what it is. So for this one, I made a website, and it's called monologueaday.com.
So I guess I'll put that in the link below, which is great because it'll give me an opportunity to spell check it.
Yeah.
Because I believe it's monologue.
It is. It's French for guy saying stuff.
Okay. So last question.
Mm-hmm.
What's a monologue again?
Okay, so a monologue is when there's one person.
Mm-hmm.
It's the sound of one person talking.
So it's like a dialogue, but with less people.
Well, it's kind of a masturbatory dialogue.
Well, now you're speaking my language.
Yeah. It's very satisfying. Every day and repeatable
Yeah.
You got to do it over and over and over again
until you get it perfect.
Yeah.
Just got to stay sharp.
Indeed.
Got to hone your craft, as it were.
Right.
Well,
because I didn't want to take classes from anyone. I'll be completely honest with you.
A lot of times they say if you have to take a class, you're not going to make it.
Yeah.
That's what Jerry Seinfeld said about comedy classes.
Is it?
If you're here to learn how to be funny, you're not going to be funny. Well, all right. So this has been an interview with a pro, a Jason Daniel.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I appreciate you coming here.
It was very difficult. It took me like 2 seconds to go from my desk to here.
It's your studio, so
Yeah.
I guess I thank myself for
Thank you for coming here and talking to me.
for finding the way
Yeah.
with bare minimum of wrong turns.
It's not. It's Tacoma. There's more than one way to get there.
Yeah, I just only
It's a
know
grid.
the one.
But it's a grid. It's a grid.
If I knew the address, it would help.
Yeah, well,
But I just know it visually.
Yeah, it's the red, white. Wait, maybe I shouldn't say. I don't want. Don't come over here. Whatever. Don't come to my house.
I'll beep that out.
Yeah. Okay. I don't believe you, but.
Just like the word French. Okay.
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 All right. Okay. Oh, wait, and we actually did record.
Church of Brian.
Welcome again, brothers and sisters. It's time for church. Church of Brian, naturally. So this week I want to talk about my brothers and sisters behind bars. Yes, you know who I'm talking about. There are special rules for the incarcerated. The incarcerated are a special class. They have so few rights. But that's why their religious adherence must be so steadfast. So, most people behind bars are guilty. If you're guilty, or if you feel as though you're presumed guilty, you need to cleanse. And the best way to cleanse is with a series of rituals. So, for example, when a married person is incarcerated, he or she must have at least 100 minutes a week with their significant other. Uninterrupted time, no supervision. If you don't get that, you will go to hell. While incarcerated, you must consume 1 8-ounce steak or 1 3-ounce lobster tail per week to cleanse. If you do not do this, you will go to hell. If you don't get 1 full hour of outside fresh air and an hour of communal time to visit with others, you will go to hell. If you do not get 1 full hour of internet per day on which to read the news, entertain yourself. It can be a smartphone, it can be a tablet, but it has to be internet access. If you do not get that per day, you will go to hell. And for those of you who are in positions of power, jailers and whatnot, corrections officers. And by the way, do you know how many corrections officers it takes to throw a man down a flight of stairs? None. He fell. So, if you're in a position of power over these people, you have to give them what they need. It's not for them, it's for their soul, so they can cleanse. So, I should also mention we probably have a website where you can register as a member of the church, and a little card you can print out and keep in your wallet, so in the very unlikely event that you are detained, you can let them know your religious needs, so they can honor you, as they should. You're a very religious person in this, my Church of Brian. Amen. So, diamonds are a girl's best friend? That may be true. But I've also heard that a dog is man's best friend. So which one's better? Well, I have a theory, but I'm certainly not about to share it with you. I want you to come to your own conclusion. Mila, who's over there licking a bowl of water, is my little bitch. And she loves me like crazy. So obviously I am, biased. So what's the difference between dogs and diamonds? Well, one is a naturally occurring chunk of carbon that we've been tricked into paying huge amounts of money for, but the other is, I guess they're both chunks of carbon that we're tricked into paying money for. I guess the big difference is dogs don't grow on trees, neither do diamonds. Dogs are actually extruded from the backsides of older dogs, which I guess if you feed your dog diamonds, they will also extrude diamonds from their back ends. I mean, that's science is what that is. So the thing is, diamonds are neither special nor rare, and if you haven't heard about this, you should. Diamonds have no resale value. Diamonds do not have any intrinsic value. They're not rare. They're only seemingly rare because of a monopoly by the De Beers Corporation. Those freaky deaky Dutch, they know what they're doing. Don't tell that to the diamond mongers, but you can buy a diamond for $10,000 today, and tomorrow you can sell it for about 2 or 3. And even that is only that high because they think the value actually exists. It doesn't. I'll link some videos in the description below. One from College Humor, from Adam Ruins Everything, and I think there might be one from CPB Gray or CGP or CGB, whatever his name is, Gray. No, their entire value is based on advertising. See, I managed to beat the system. My dogs, they're second-hand. I let somebody else buy them. They suffered all the depreciation. Once you drive a dog off the lot, there's no value left. I just basically took over payments so I could have dogs. And I didn't even have to get them when they were too young to be useful. And our wedding bands? Oh, I love my wife, but I didn't buy that dumb bitch diamonds. Hell no. What, so she could have something on her hand that people would steal? No way. Cubic zirconia for my old lady. That way if someone stops her on the street, pulls out a knife and says, "Bitch, give me your diamonds," she'd be like, "Yeah, here you go, have it." No, it's cool. It's, you know what? I'll spend $300 and buy something tomorrow. It's totes my goats. It's fine. And my ring, it isn't even gold. It's titanium, which by some accounts is more valuable than gold because gold has no value outside of jewelry. Titanium you can use for all manner of things. So it's great because my ring, unlike gold, which you can smelt and delt at home, titanium actually requires machinery. And so I have a ring that cannot be made by a normal artisan. It has to be made with very expensive equipment. And it's laden with cubic zirconia. So it's not only beautiful, wonderful, and a symbol of all things great, it's also cheap. And because you can't resize titanium, I actually went the extra step and planned to lose weight. If you can't resize it, how can I keep my wedding band? Oh, well, I bought the next size down. And the size below that. And the 2 sizes below that. Basically, I have a box full of wedding bands. My wife knows where they are. I don't. She's in charge of that sort of thing. And the best thing is that we have no blood diamonds, we have no conflict diamonds, and best of all, we have no actual diamonds. I mean, that's awesome. You've never heard of blood zirconia, and there's a reason for that. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because my son just walked around the corner wearing no pants and no shoes outside at night. No, I think the reason is because cubic zirconia is actually a metal and not a gem. That's not the point. That's not a point. The point is there's a reason for it. So my assessment, diamonds or dogs, I'm going to say dogs are a man's best friend because unlike diamonds, you don't have to hand them down. You can just keep them until they die. And when they die, you can just mourn their death quietly. That's my thoughts anyway. So yeah, again, I have to apologize for the shamefully low quality of the 2 segments you're about to watch. And it's not because I can't go back and redo them, it's because I won't go back and redo them. You know, it's all gonna change here in the coming weeks. It's gonna get better, I promise. You'll see. I'm gonna wear this same shirt in a few minutes and beg you to stick around some more in my closing outro. And yeah, it's gonna be great. So just Endure these. I'll make it better. You'll see.
Kids tales, kids with tails.
No.
Okay.
Going?
Yep.
So Patrick, my oldest, who is now just about 16, learns a lot from movies. He always has. God damn it, dog, I'm going to eat you alive if you don't stop trying to eat my coffee. So even when he was a wee lad, he learned a lot from movies. So in this segment, kids' tales, kids with tails. I should point out my kids don't have tails, but they've got many other wonderful traits that make them superhuman. So, yeah. Like all good people under 50, we raise our children with television. It's just a great substitute for actually parenting. It's much easier. It doesn't stop paying attention the way we do. And it's like free-range parenting, but it actually in little tiny cages, like rooms, like pens. It's pretty awesome. So Patrick is autistic. He has the ability to memorize things well. He can absorb information in unique ways, dog. And so when he was age 2 or 3, Pepper, I swear to God, that dog is not a threat to you. Pepper. When Patrick was 2 or 3, before he could even talk, he would watch Country Bear Hall, or Country Bear Jamboree, the Country Bears. When Patrick was 2 or 3, before he could even talk, he'd watch Country Bear Jamboree. Oh, Pepper, smoke you. Pepper. When Patrick was 2 or 3, he'd watch Country Bear Jamboree. He didn't even know how to talk yet, but he had watched the movie so many times he'd memorized it phonetically. So sometimes when he'd be scared, he would actually say things like, "Oh no, Country Bear Hall! Oh no, Country Bear Hall!" And if you're watching this on the YouTube version of the podcast, you'll actually see the clip with Christopher Walken there. And I'm just going to pause for a second. I'm not going to pause. Don't you pause. I'm going to pause. So I'll run a clip over this and we'll just listen to Christopher Walken. Yeah, that sounds about right. Don't worry, that'll be added later, Mama. So, yeah, he'd memorize it phonetically. But another fun thing he learned from movies was when Brendan was about 3, Patrick was 7 or 8. And Brendan did something that annoyed Patrick. Maybe he took his toy or knocked something over. And Patrick said, "Nice job, way-ho!" And Tina's like, "Way-ho? I don't even, what is," and I'm like, "Patrick, don't you say that." She's like, what is, right now this dog is being a way-ho. So what is a way-ho? Well, it turns out it's the scene from Austin Powers when he goes, "Ow, you shot me, you a-hole," which I will now play also as a clip. And he actually said it in another spot in a different Austin Powers movie, which is right here. Yeah, so that's kind of fun. And the best one, though, was his Tommy Boy moment. We were driving down the road, and Tina and I have this great little chemistry where we know kind of what each other's thinking at any given moment. Like right now, she's thinking, "Do we?" Yes, we do. So we're driving down the street, and we see this pedestrian walking, this lady in ill-fitting clothes that she probably should have stopped wearing in high school, and now she's well past college. Inappropriately tight clothing. And Tina and I are talking, and then we both spot her, and we don't say a word. We just stop talking. And as we drive past, Patrick says, "Fat girl in little pants." Which, of course, is from Tommy Boy. I don't think I'll play that clip because if you don't know about fat guy in little coat, man, you're missing out on more than I can help you with. So that's how kids raise. My kids were raised by TV and movies. Mostly movies, I guess, in this one. Yeah, so that's Kids' Tales. Kids with Tales. So whether you're watching this on YouTube or just listening to it, you may notice there's a certain scripted quality to everything that I say. That's because I don't have a teleprompter. If you're watching this and you notice I'm looking to the side or at notes or something, yeah, it's because unlike a lot of podcasts where they just freeball it, I'm actually scripting this stuff. I'm actually studying and practicing. I'm actually doing my work. I know, it's crazy. It is indeed crazy. For those of you listening, the stilted thing, ignore it. It'll smooth out, I promise. As for, the rest of the stuff, well, the content I can't speak to. It is a work in progress. I've said it many times, I'll say it again. I'm just glad that you're here because, in a matter of months, I'm going to be the richest man alive, which I will explain if I haven't already. This is all non-sequential, so who knows. But you guys, you're along for the ride, and I appreciate that. So let's move on to the next segment. Meh?
Yep.
So last week we talked a bit about Netflix and how it could be made better. And I shared my first 8 ideas. I got 5 more left. I'm telling something. Yeah, something like that. So on this week's list, number 9 is I want a My Primetime TV playlist. And not so much a playlist as a randomizer. If I put in, for example, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, Family Guy, Sunny in Philadelphia, and Arrested Development, just randomly pick episodes for me. Don't make me pick which one I want to see. Make it more like TV where I just put it on and it picks for me. And don't pick, the most popular, just pick random. That's how these things work. I just want to sit back and watch my stories. I've seen them all before, but I'd like to see them again without having to sort through and remember exactly what I like. Because there are lesser episodes where it's like, oh, I remember the gist of that one, but I don't remember if I liked it. No, I loved it. I just won't watch it again because it's got a terrible name. Number 10, outside ratings would be really nice. I know that Rotten Tomatoes is owned by Warner Brothers, a partner of rival Hulu. I know that IMDb and Box Office Mojo are both owned by Amazon, which is also a rival company. But we don't care about that. We want quality over your stupid competition. Sure, I can get it right now with third-party plugins, but I'm sick of adding all these plugins, and you can only add them on some devices. It'd be nice if when I'm looking through the movies, if I could just hover over it and see like critics' reviews and overviews. I mean, it just drives me bonkers. Okay, number 11, more effing content. Netflix boasts having around 10,000 titles. Well, that's great, but like 2.5 million movies have been made with even more episodes of TV shows around the world. 10,000 sounds like a lot until you consider that almost none of it is interesting to most of us. Content costs money, I get that, but it only costs money if people are watching it. You don't have to pay for exclusives you don't use, and a lot of publishers on Netflix get very little. So there are millions of shows which would accept a nickel a view or even less. Make them deep recommendations, but nearly endless cheap content exists. So if you go on YouTube, you can find all the old soap operas are there. And we're talking going back decades. 50s and 60s television shows have no current market outlet. These would not only be popular, well, they would only be popular to a niche crowd, but this market, it needs a long tail. You could put on old episodes of Man from U.N.C.L.E. That stuff is hard to find. And it's got very little commercial value as it is. So you could get it. So everything in the public domain should be on there. Everything independent distributors are willing to share for damn near nothing. as long as it's broadcast quality. I mean, you've got so many crap movies on there already, like zombie cheerleaders and ninja cheerleaders and Godzilla versus cheerleaders. They're terrible movies, but somebody's going to watch them. Great, I'm glad they're there. Add more of them. So since Netflix added 4.3 million new subscribers in the last 3 months of 2014, that means almost $500 million in new annual revenue. So yeah, bandwidth costs money, I get that, but we can only watch so many hours, and we really like to be captive. We want you to have a monopoly, as long as it's a good one. So lastly, and this is a small one, let me request movies. I really can't. If I want to see Jurassic Park 3, or like Lost World, or whichever one that is in the order, why can't I add it to my queue so you know there's at least a demand for it, and then when you have it, you can automatically throw it in my favorites. Now, if I request Jurassic Park The Lost World, what I'd really like you to do is have a pop-up on the screen that says, please consult a psychiatrist. You're obviously not feeling well. That movie is garbage. But somebody will watch it. Heck, my kids might enjoy it. I enjoyed it when I was younger, a little bit. But it's a dinosaur movie. So how can we tell you there's demand for the prequel or the sequel or the related movie to the one you have available? How can we let you know we want to see movies on a topic that you don't even list? It's like if you had Back to the Future 3. I don't want to see that. Can I request 2 or 1? Please, for the love of God. And the same goes with Matrix. Boy, that third one was a partial birth abortion. But the second one was, some people loved it, some hated it, and the first one was, of course, The Matrix. So, those are my suggestions for Netflix and how to make it better. And don't you worry, Amazon Prime and Hulu Plus. I'm coming for you next. You're going to have some different suggestions, but mostly they're going to be about not sucking so much. That's it. Well, that's all the time we have news for this week. This podcast was easier, my second one ever, though only marginally better. I promise that's going to change in the coming weeks. It's a work in progress. Things are changing very quickly, and I promise generational improvements, podcast over podcast. Specifically starting, soon, like now-ish. So that's good. I've got a new computer. I'm still piecing it together, and I'm having trouble getting some of the last components, and it's just already over budget, but it's fine. I'm going to make it work, baby. I'm going to make it work. I have all the things I need to make it happen, except the things I need to make it happen. So tune in next Sunday night to get your Monday morning podcast fix at glossynews.com/podcast, reddit.com/r/glossypodcast, facebook.com/4kpodcast, or wherever these things are not sold, since to date they're free, which is probably why I can't afford to put a computer together. Sad. Also, subscribe for updates at youtube.com/glossynews. And did I mention to subscribe? Oh yeah, subscribe. While you're at it, subscribe. You can check out some of the new videos on glossynews.com while you're there. And I have a dedicated channel on YouTube for the podcast, but it doesn't have its own link yet. Apparently you have to get to 100 subscribers before they'll let you tell people how to friggin' find it, which is great if you don't have a podcast. Anyway, it's ridiculous. Links to everything I talked about today, discussed on the show, they're all here in the comments, in the descriptions below. Tell your friends how awesome this is, or maybe how awesome it has the potential to be. Share, like, favorite, whatever else it is you crazy kids do these days. Royalty-free music Funkorama, Your Call, and Music for a Funeral Part 11 by Kevin MacLeod, Incompetech.com. Segment jingles and bumpers by Greg the Hero. 4K videos shot and recorded by Tacoma Productions with boom mic help from Daphne. Thanks to Jason Daniel for joining me in studio. Jason Daniel. Oh yeah, we did. That's right. Hey Jason, how's it going? Thanks to Jason Daniel for joining me in studio. And yes, we left in the stuff where we were chatting and leading in and out. We probably should have cut it, but you know, Jason's just awesome. He's really good. Together we make a great team of people who don't let the camera stop rolling. As you know, I mean, we're like an hour deep into my podcast, and here you are. And if you don't hear this, well then you'll never know that I was wrong, will you? Will you? Post comments, ask questions, tell me how annoying and mentally deficient I am, and I look forward to hearing from you. I mean, I assume I do. I don't know if I actually do, but we'll find out. Join us next Sunday night or Monday morning for the next podcast, and again, I promise it'll be better. It's not like a money-back guarantee, although, assuming you've paid nothing for this, yeah, I'll give you that money back. I'll give it back to you with interest. All you have to do is track me down, find me, and I will give you that money back. Closing thought. It gets so much better every year. Cheaper, more efficient, all that. How come my toothbrush keeps bleeding inside my mouth? Doesn't make any sense. I don't buy blood packs for my toothbrush. Every week, when I remember to brush my teeth, boom, there it is, blood all over the inside of my mouth. You'd think they could engineer that out of the process. Yeah, maybe I should take better care of my chompers. Maybe I should find out what floss actually is. Maybe I shouldn't brush my teeth with cheese. These are all life's great mysteries. It's something to think about. So until next we meet, which is, I assume, on my next podcast, unless you know me, or can find me, that's all. Take care. See you soon. What? Shut off.